This video might be disturbing for slow thinkers and those with a learning disability, because I am a small genius and I'm going to prove it to you. Just watch. What you will see is that my knowledge of a town map of a major town, namely Brighton Hove in Sussex, United Kingdom, is so good that I am able to draw the entire town map from out of my head without looking on a map. As you can see here, these are all town map copies and sketches I have drawn. This is just what I have kept. I have thrown most of it away. These are just sketches here. And this is sketches. These are sketches in a larger scale. Here. 18 sketches. All of them. Alright. All I need are these 42 points of reference. As you can see here, these 42 points of reference. 42 is an homage to Douglas Adams, whose books I have translated and also written a sequel to it, which is called 42 is the Answer, but what is the question anyhow? Here in German language. But I have translated it into English myself and sent it to his agent, but he has turned me down. If you don't have a name, well, you better get one. Yet not only can I draw the map with all the roads and streets, closes and little alleyways, I'm of course also able to tell their names, and of course I also manage the complete index. You can ask me any road name, the tiniest of roads, the most insignificant of closes, I can point it out on the map. Now, to actually draw while telling the road names will be the next step. For now, for this is the first video, I will use a town map I have already drawn and just point out and tell the names of all the roads and alleyways, which are supposedly around 3,000. I've never counted them. This map is very accurate. More accurate than the maps I usually draw, for this whole thing is not yet perfect. I'm still working on the entire project. It is still in the making, and you will see that every now and then I have to pause to think, or perhaps am uncertain, or maybe, well, very rarely even wrong. But over the next years it will become more and more perfect. Over the years, well, yes, I have already put 10 years of work into this town map, not continuously, of course, with gaps in between. You see, the whole thing began when I was actually a cab driver in Brighton Hove for real, and worked there for almost a year. At that time, I called myself, and I still do, Europe's cab driving writer, and it was my intention to work in as many countries as a licensed cab driver and write about it as possible. I have already written 4 novels in German language. 3 of them, this is the first, the second, and the third. The fourth is called Why Hitchhike? Use a cab through the galaxy, which is already an homage to Douglas Adams, which is already linked to Douglas Adams. I have already written 4 novels in German language using my experiences as a cab driver in Germany, in 2 towns even, and over a time span of 30 years. One was Heilbronn, still back in the 80s, when half of my customers were American soldiers, half of them even in uniform, and the other one was Freiburg from 89 on, with gaps of course till very recently, till they fired me for being not submissive enough. Well, after 16 months in England, 9 months of them work and 7 months preparing for the license, I decided to leave England again to continue in another country, and I picked Switzerland and Zurich, the smallest world city as it is called. Did the license and worked there for 16 months solid. Now, after that, it was my intention to continue in the French part of Switzerland, in Geneva, as a step ahead of France itself, but it was too much at that time for me, and so I returned to Germany because I couldn't come back to England. Now the thing is, I wanted to go back to my job in Brighton for another time. I really did, but they didn't allow me, for my license had expired. You know, it is required in Brighton and Hove to renew your license each year, and for that you have to hold an English driver's license. One last time I was still able to renew my license from Switzerland, because until then I had kept my UK driver's license, but then I had to exchange it for a Swiss one. So I couldn't renew the cab license, and I figured at that time it wouldn't matter. I would just go on with my world record, but I had trouble with a girl I loved very much. Well, back then I did. I have written this entire book about her. It's really, you know, it's a really thick book. All right, and she made my life hell. There is a nice English saying, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. You know how women can cause trouble. If I would have been world famous at that time, that girl would have said yes, but she didn't want to support me all through the process of it. While my world fame was still in the making, right? You know, this is just like them, right? They want to move into a house that is already finished, but they refuse to help building one. Anyway, by that time, my argument with the cab office in Brighton, the Brighton and Hove Hackney Carriage Office, began. I reasoned with them, they refused. I begged them, they still refused. I took the whole thing to an English internet cab forum, and I will put a link in the box below where you can read all of it if you want. We ended up in that I said, I don't want to go through the process of starting from scratch again. I don't want to do the Driving Standards Agency's test again, where they want me to drive like back in driving school. But I will offer you in return, for a possible exception, the best road knowledge you ever had from an applicant, and also the best English language knowledge you ever had from a foreign applicant who wasn't born with English language as a native speaker. So this is a still ongoing struggle, for I had told them that I would do this quite a while ago, but you know, talk is cheap, so they probably figured that I would just give up eventually. Well, I am not giving up. I will display my knowledge and we will see. So I dedicate this video to, well, certainly as a motivation for anyone first. In the words of a famous movie quote, I do not need to name, for you all know it. If you really put your mind into things, you can accomplish anything. Hang on tight to your dreams. In time, you will achieve all of your goals. Of course, I dedicate it to all cab drivers worldwide to motivate them for excellency in their job, and of course, to everybody else who just simply wants to do a good job in his own profession, to go the extra mile. Yet also to just another time give proof to the fact that the human mind is the most fascinating thing. It can do things you would never think can be possible. When I began all of this, I had massive doubts that this whole thing could be done at all, but it can be done. So obviously, this project will also be an official world record attempt for the Guinness Book of World Records in the category Best Road Knowledge in a Major Town per Square Mile, because surely a London cab driver has to learn much more roads and in a much larger area, but this knowledge is only superficial. But I will also dedicate it to the fight for freedom all over the world. May this set an example among others. May this motivate you in your personal struggle, wherever you are, and whatever it is you are struggling in, to continue, to not give up. I am dedicating this to everybody who does not want to serve and obey, who is rebellious about one thing or another. Let this motivate you to keep up your fight. They want us to work and obey and not question authority. Let me quote from a very famous movie again. I don't think I have to mention the name too. You will know it for sure. You are all condemned men. We keep you alive to serve this ship. So row well and live. Well, you know, every once in a while, fate turns, and those who made others obey have to obey them. I said best language skills for a foreigner and best road knowledge. Well, be the judge on that. The first time when I began to learn English language, it was at the age of 10. So I certainly made some progress, right? Well, all right, perhaps they already had some other foreigner with a similar grasp of English language, but they will never, ever have someone who is as good with the Brighton town map as I am. If you don't believe me or want to be a witness or just a spectator of a public display of my capabilities, I am happy to give proof of that skill at any appropriate occasion, like a TV or any public event. But now see for yourself. Now, just some technical stuff before. In short, to not waste space, I have chosen a scale and a format of paper that allows me to put the entire bulk of the town on just one sheet of A2 format and add the other areas as inserts. In the scale I use, the town map would require 2 sheets A2 put alongside, and that would look rather awkward. So after trying out different ways, as you can see here, that would require 4 sheets. I have finally decided to do it this way. Now, in order to do this as quickly as possible, I will not always say in a grid or row of roads or streets, etc., this and that road or this and that street. I will name the roads or streets, and then I add the term road or street or close or whatever in the end. For example, Cromwell, Bexley, Linton, Arnott, Carlisle Street, or Milton, Howard, Hampton, Cobden Road, or Henfield, Paladin, Anstey, and Flimwell Close. Alright, let's begin. Woolsey, Crown, Abenjoe, Freeman's Road, Park Crescent, Stanley Road, Jubilee Road, Gardner Street, Barnes Road, Chaldare Road, Chaldare Crescent Avenue, Hurst Hill, Benfield Street, Buckler Street, and Elm Road. Gladstone, Lincoln, and Eastbrook Road, Brambleden Road, St. Nicholas and Michael St. Peter's Road, Trafalgar Road and Church Road, Victoria Road and Vale Road, Pakistan, Jubilee, Woolsey, Crown, Image of Freeman's Road, Hurst Hill, Benfield and Buckler and Gardner Street, and Barnes and Elm Road, Cheddar Road, Crescent Avenue, Gladstone, Lincoln, Eastbrook, Brambleden, St. Nicholas and Michael St. Peter's, Trafalgar Church, Victoria and Vale Road, Church Street, Bay Gardens, Beacon Street Road, Southern Avenue, Links Road and Close, Gardens Close, Denmark, Simister and Gordon Road and Close, Franklin, St. Edmundson, Andrews Road, and Norway, Albany, and North Street, and Middle Street, Chapel Place, West Orange Road, Camden and East Street, and Clarendon Place, and Seaford Station, Brandon Road, and Corton Terrace, St. Leonard's Road and Avenue, Abbey Road, St. Leonard's Gardens, St. Kennedy, Middleton, Derrick Avenue, Kenton, and Glastonbury, Brittany, Roman, and Saxon Road, Marine Avenue, Tanners, Norman, Tanners, Glendale, Wolf Basin Road, North and South, Bushwood, Welbeck, and Berrydale Avenue, Brimmer Road, Langer Gardens Road, and Carlisle, Wissingham Road, Second Garden, Westborough, Village and Place, and Princess Crescent Square Avenue, Amber Road.